What would your life look like if you stopped living by default, not by other people's expectations, the synthetic path that was handed to you, or the story that was written for you before you were old enough to write your own? What would it look like if you woke up every single day and made a conscious, intentional, aligned choice about how you were going to live, what you were going to build, who you were going to be, and what you were going to say yes to and what you were going to say no to from a place of complete ownership? That is not a fantasy. That is what this entire framework has been building towards, and that is what we're talking about today. Welcome to the final episode of the Rooted Method series. I'm Samantha, and we've been on this journey for 6 weeks. And if you've been following along, you have been doing the work, asking the questions, sitting with the challenges. You are not the same person who started episode 1. Something has shifted in you. Maybe you can feel clearly. Maybe it's still quiet, but it's there. Regulated body can hold more. We built the capacity to grow, and now the final letter D, direct. You become the creator of your life. Direct is the stage where everything comes together. It is the stage where healing stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you actively participate in, where growth stops being something you chase and becomes something that you choose, and where your life stops being something that you endure or manage or survive and becomes something you design. To direct your life means to take full, conscious, compassionate ownership of it, not from a place of control, because life will always have things you cannot control, but from a place of authorship. You are the author of the story, not the passive character things happen to, the author. And authorship requires three things that this entire framework has been building in you: self knowledge, deep enough to know what you actually want, trust strong enough to move towards it, and capacity wide enough to hold it when it arrives. That is exactly what you have been building. Direct is not a destination, it is a way of moving through your life, a daily practice of asking, is this mine? Is this a line? Is this life what I'm choosing? Or am I living by default again? And then choosing again and again from inside out. I want to come back full circle with you in this episode, all the way back to the doctor's office, because that moment, that one was terrifying, quiet, courageous moment of speaking up when everything in the room told me to stay silent. That was my first real act of directing my own life. I didn't know it at all at the time. I just knew something inside me said wait, and I listened. But I understand now, on the other side of years of healing, rebuilding, learning, and building this framework, is that that moment was the beginning of a practice of directing, of choosing my health over convenience, choosing my knowing over external authority, choosing alignment over approval, to be the author of my own story rather than a character in someone else's. And it has not always been graceful, it has not always been clear. There have been detours and setbacks and moments where I lost the thread entirely and I had to find my way back so many times. But I kept coming back because once you have the taste what it feels like to live from the inside out, even briefly, living from default stops being an option. That is what I want for you. Not a perfect life or a life without hard things, a life that is just genuinely yours. And I believe with everything in me that you are ready for it. The direct stage in the Rooted Method is built around 6 pillars. Let's close the series the way we opened it, with intention and depth. So, pillar number 1, lifestyle design, is the practice of being intentional about your daily life, how it's structured. What does your ideal day actually look like? Not the fantasy version, the real lived, sustainable version. What time do you wake up? How do you move your body? What work do you do and when? Where do you work? Who do you work for? What does rest look like? Most people have never asked these questions seriously. They have inherited a life structure from their culture, their family, their industry, their obligations, and they live inside it without ever stopping to ask if it actually fits, if it actually feels organic, or is it a synthetic path or box, whatever you want to call it? Lifestyle design is the practice of asking and then slowly, intentionally, one decision at a time, building a life structure that actually supports who you are and what you are here to do. Pillar number 2, aligned work, wealth, richness. Work that is aligned is not just work you enjoy, it is work that is an expression of who you are, your values, your gifts, your experience, your deepest convictions about what matters. And wealth in the rooted method is not just financial. Though financial abundance is absolutely part of what we are building towards, wealth is the full experience of abundance in your health, your relationships, your time, your energy, your impact, and your income. A woman who has done the work of this framework, who is regulated, self-aware, open, trusting, and expanding from a rooted place, is not building wealth from scarcity or fear or proving herself. She is building it from overflow, from the natural expression of who she actually is. That kind of wealth is sustainable because it is not dependent on performance, it is an extension of presence, of our essence. So moving on to pillar number 3, purpose. Purpose in the direct stage is no longer something that you're searching for. It is something you are living. Because here is what I have come to understand about purpose after years of my own journey and walking alongside women in theirs. Purpose is not a single destination. It is not one thing you find and then have forever. Purpose is the thread that runs through everything, through your healing story, through your gifts, through your problems. You are uniquely equipped to solve the problems you are uniquely equipped to solve through the specific people your life has prepared you to serve. Purpose is the thread that runs through everything, through your healing story, through your gifts, through the problems you are uniquely equipped to solve, through the specific people your life has prepared you to serve. And when you are rooted, when you know yourself, trust yourself, and are moving from a place of genuine alignment, purpose stops being a question you ask and becomes something you feel in the life of your daily life, like living it. You will know you are in purpose when the work feels like the most natural expression of who you are. When serving others from your gifts feels less like a career and more like a calling, when you cannot imagine not doing it, that is what all of this has been pointing towards. Pillar number 4, routines and boundaries. In the direct stage, routines and boundaries are not about discipline, but about design. Your routines are the architecture of your daily life, the structure that holds your intentions in place, even when motivation is low, even when things are hard, even when the world is pulling you in 1,000 directions. And your boundaries are the parameter of your energy. The clear, compassionate, consistent line between what you will give and what you will protect, between who you are responsible for and who you are not, between the life you are building and the demands that would deplete it. A woman who has done this framework knows that these are non-negotiables. She knows what she needs to function at her best. She knows what she is willing to give and what is no longer available for her. And she communicates that not with aggression, not with an apology, but a calm, grounded clarity of a woman who has come home to herself. So, pillar number 5, decision making. In the direct stage, decision making changes completely. It is no longer primarily driven by fear of the wrong choices, disapproval, what might happen if you trust yourself and it doesn't work out. It is driven by alignment, by the internal yes or no that you have learned to hear and trust through the work of this entire framework. That doesn't mean decisions become easy. Some of the most important decisions of your life will still be hard. They'll still be scary. They still require courage, but the compass is clear. And when the compass is clear, when you know your values, your vision, your non-negotiables, the inner knowing well enough to consult them, even the hard decisions become navigable. You will make the wrong call sometimes. Everyone does. I still do. But a woman who directs her own life can take a wrong turn, recalibrate, and keep going without it becoming evidence of her inadequacy or proof that she shouldn't have trusted herself. The wrong turn is just data, and data serves the journey. And so let's move on to pillar 6, creating a meaningful life. A life that feels meaningful from the inside, where you go to sleep at night knowing that you showed up for yourself, for your healing, your purpose, for the people that you love, for your community, for your gifts in a way that was deeply true. Meaning is not found, it is made. It is built in those daily choices to live consciously, to love intentionally, to contribute from your genuine gifts, to keep coming back to yourself, even when the world pulls you away. That is the direct stage. That is the final letter. And that is what the Rooted Method is ultimately for. Not just for healing your body, not for growing your business, not just finding your voice. It's creating a life that is deeply yours, 100% authentic, unmistakably yours. It's no longer on the synthetic path. I want to take a moment here to acknowledge a few things. If you have watched this entire series, if you have sat with all 6 episodes, done the challenges, asked the questions, let the framework work for you, I want you to know that took so much courage. And you literally said to yourself, I'm worth the investment of my own attention. My healing matters. My life is worth designing intentionally. So this is no small feat that you did. In a world that is constantly pulling you outward towards more productivity, performance, choosing to come inward, it takes so much courage. And what you have built these last 6 episodes is real. The regulation you have practiced is real. The awareness you have developed is real. The openness you have cultivated, the trust you have built, the capacity you have expanded, all of this is real. All of it is yours, and none of it can be taken from you. This is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of living consciously. The Rooted Method is not a one-time fix. It is a way of being, a practice you return to, and with every season, every challenge, and every new level of life, because you now have like a framework that brings you back to yourself, no matter how far the world pulls you away. You are rooted, and from that place, you are ready for everything. And before I let you go, I want to tell you what comes next. If this series has resonated with you, if you have felt the framework working in you and you want to go deeper, I want to invite you into the next step. I would like you to reserve a seat in my Say It Society. It's something I'm building. It's a community, so just you can add your email. If you want to join for that, you can just comment Say It below and I'll send you the link. It's super easy to sign up. This is not just content. This is transformation with support. It is designed exactly for women that this series was made for, the one who is done surviving and ready to start living. The details are in this description below, and I'll also link it below. You can come find us, reserve your seat, pull up a chair, come sit on the porch with me, and we will have tea and talk about all of the things that we have uncovered here. But if you're not ready for that next step, completely fine. Subscribe, stay in this community, keep watching. Everything I share here is designed to bring you one step closer to yourself. Drop a comment below. Tell me which letter of the Rooted Method hit you the hardest. Which stage are you living in right now? Which one are you ready to step into? I will see you in the comments. I'll be there with you in the comments. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here, for trusting the process, for doing the brave and quiet work of coming home to yourself. I'll see you on the other side. Keep coming home to yourself.